He's Bill Reiter, and he's Reiter than you.
The program Reiter than you, sometimes.
He's a fan.
I love sports so much.
He's in your face.
I will destroy those obnoxiously arrogant, clueless, tone-deaf superstars who are marginal players, good players, who made careers, who think they're Hall of Famers.
He's nice.
I promise, we're nice here.
He's humble.
I think I'm pretty good if you're on the show about admitting if I got it wrong.
Live from Los Angeles, here's Bill Reiter.
All right, this is an exciting one today. And as you've seen, because I'm going to label it this way, two writers never make a wrong. It is the debut on Reiter Than You of my brother Bob, who I call Bobby. I don't think he loves that, but whatever. I've known him a long time. There he is.
It's great to be here.
What's up, Boom?
Nothing. Living my best life.
Bob's got all the names. He's got Boomer. He's got Bob. He's got Bobby. Happy birthday. Coming off the birthday energy yesterday. How you feeling this
Heck
morning?
of a day.
We did.
I feel a little rough. I feel a little rough, but you
Okay.
know, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you are.
Ready to go. Yep.
We went to Arthur J in Manhattan Beach, fancy schmancy steakhouse. If any of you ever come here, go there and just drink all the drinks, and then whether you want to pay the bill or not or run away, we've contemplated it before. It's not a cheap place. Yeah. First time on this podcast. You have been on a podcast with me before because I'd forgotten this. You were on the short-lived, it burned hot and it burned short, Roddick and Reiter podcast, where you won a bet from Roddick that he owes you on, but I think maybe statute of limitations may have come and gone.
I mean, presumably, as the chain has gone quiet on collecting on that bet. So, yeah, that was a wonderful time. I'm excited to be back on your podcast, Bill, to rip it.
We're gonna break it all down. What did Andy owe you? Golf round?
I think a round of golf at Beverly Hills Country Club, or maybe Riviera.
Are those good, fancy schmancy?
I think so. Know. At this point, I would take a round anywhere with anyone, paid for by Andy Roddick.
Got it. Because you and I are taking our sons to is it a 10-hole today after this podcast here in
That's
in
what
LA?
You said. Yeah.
I don't know.
I've never played a 10-hole golf course before.
Me either.
Yeah. Yes. Can't wait to get them out there.
It will make my 93 feel a lot more palatable when I tell people at a round of golf. And I haven't golfed in a couple of years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the under. You know what I mean?
You will.
I think you're 72.
Stick it 92. All right, so you're from Iowa. I'm from Iowa. I guess we're like nominally Iowa fans. We're both Mizzou fans. Iowa and Nebraska with a chance within the Sweet 16, which, by the way, if I'm doing this bracket right, with a chance to potentially play Illinois. It could be an all Big Ten affair. You like it. For those of you who don't know, Bob is a gambler. We're going to get into his poker. I don't know how do I describe it. Great amateur,
I think
professional?
Profitable recreational is what a serious recreational is what they would call me in the poker world. Yeah.
If you were a baseball player, would you be a AAA star?
Wow, I don't know that there is a baseball parallel.
Okay.
I think I would be like an elite level baseball player who only chooses to play 11 games a season.
So maybe golf would be you're like a pretty good golfer, but you're just like, you're not there for that tour life. So you're just in and out.
Right. Correct. I mean, I love poker, but I would never want to do it full time. What a grind that would be.
I will brag on Bob's behalf. Bob is a very successful, profitable, serious poker player. It's a suckers who fund people like Bobby's World. And then, I don't know, a little better than break even on the sports gambling? Is that fair?
I would say no. I don't think I beat sports betting. No.
Does anyone?
I think that there are some that do. I think particularly if you're putting a lot of time in and you're doing, some arbitrage betting and you're, cross-referencing lines across multiple platforms So the answer is yes. I think a lot of that's data-driven or arbitrage-driven, which is...
Going with my gut, then, is probably why I'm a net negative. Like, wow, I really like Missouri to go deep because I went there.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I am not profitable is because I have particularly this year, I have a tendency to bet on the teams I like. For example, Tottenham. So if you had bet on Tottenham this year, would you have won any money ever? No.
You bet on Tottenham every year.
I do. I try to avoid.
Yeah.
I haven't bet on them in about 8 or 9 games. Once they lost 4 or 5 in a row, I think the responsible clinical gambler in me said, "We got to cut off."
But you
Your
do bet
family
on
bet.
Arsenal to bottle it every year. We're going to get to that in a second. Very quickly, you love Iowa against Nebraska. Is this just because we're Hawkeyes?
Well, no. I mean, Iowa has owned Nebraska, particularly in football, for as long as I can remember, for as long as they've been in the Big Ten in my recollection. So,
Okay.
do I like them against Nebraska? I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily say that I would pick them to win, but if I were going to pick a matchup from the 15 teams remaining in the Sweet 16, and I'm Iowa, it's Nebraska,
It's the one.
Nebraska for me. Yeah.
And they can beat Illinois too. I don't think they will. I love Brad Underwood's team. You know what? The coach at Iowa, who I didn't love when they hired out of Drake's, a small university in Des Moines. Let me get one of these. I have all the buttons now, so I can do anything I want.
No, I like it.
You look a little,
I didn't expect or see that one coming.
No one did.
I do like it. I did like it. I didn't like that coach because, they beat Mizzou last year in the first round.
Right.
And it was one of the worst basketball games I've ever watched. I think it was like the fewest possessions, fewest shots, fewest points in an NCAA
he made it ugly.
Game. He did. But it's the interesting thing about perspective. Now that he's Iowa's coach, love him.
Yeah. That guy sucks is the worst becomes, I love that guy when he becomes your guy. Soccer. We're gonna do a lot of soccer on the show. Let's just. I know that you're an avid listener, but in case you miss soccer, is how we talk about soccer. I'm a Barca fan. I'm wearing the jersey and the crest. I think you have a Tottenham shirt on right now.
Come on, you Spurs. Yeah.
It's very emotional for you. Those of you that don't know that aren't soccer fans, some of you know are thinking about it, like what team. Tottenham is a legacy club in the Premier League, which is the English league. They have never been relegated. They're sort of the Chicago Cubs. It's what attracted you. They wear the same colors. The team they hate is in red. They're good, but they always break your heart. But they are flirting with actual relegation. I mean, I think they can be relegated, man.
Oh, I mean, I think that they're probably odds-on favorites to be relegated right now, based on form and the teams around them. And I mean, it's a story that is so absurd that
it's awful.
It's hard to believe it's real. I mean, it's right up there from what I understand with Leicester City winning the Premier League. It's as big of a story and as big of a shocker of that if they do go down. Now, I still think they'll stay up. They have a more talented squad. They're about to get healthy. So, I think that they'll stay up. But I think it's a very non-zero chance that they go down. Maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 15%, maybe it's 30%. It kind of depends on your analysis. But
I'm looking at the odds now. West Ham is a slight. So 3 teams get relegated. 2 of them are basically locks. And the betting odds have both the Wolves and Burnley at 1 to 2. They're getting relegated. West Ham is a slight favorite, depends on the book. Tottenham is just behind them. In some cases, same odds, and then Nottingham Forest. But there's some serious separation between. I mean, Nottingham Forest is basically 6 to 1, 11 to 2 to be relegated. Tottenham is 5 to 4, 11 to 8, 6 to 4.
Yikes!
Yeah,
that's worse than I would have hoped and about where I would have thought, I guess. But yeah, it's been it's been such a steady decline over a number of years that being here, it seems crazy, but I sort of looking back in the last 4, 5, 6 years and the decision making, the systemic and structural issues, top to bottom at the club, and then cross-referencing that with some of the other storylines that people might be familiar with, like Leeds or Sunderland. These are also massive clubs who have gone down. Nottingham Forest is a great example as well.
right.
European champion has gone down. So it's real jeopardy. A tiny part of me, the novelty of being in the championship and having a season in the championship would be fun, but
really,
the damage. I think it would be fun to. It would be fun to go through that season, and assuming that they come straight back up.
Are you locked to come up? I don't know how that based
I
on,
don't think we are a lock to come up. I mean, we'd be massive favorites. You know, you've got the sort of financial might of a club like Tottenham. They also have, you know, one of the biggest and best stadiums in all of sport in the world that drives a lot of revenue, you know, non-football revenue. So just that capacity coupled with the parachute payments from the Premier League, they would be massive, massive favorites to win the championship. But we've seen teams go down, and you don't always know what's under the hood financially, and that could be a huge calamity for a club like Tottenham if they don't have the right protections in place on contracts and for players. So,
and you go
no
from
guarantee.
38 games to 48. It's a grind, right? 48 matches.
48. I think it's 46 because I believe it's 24 teams in the championship. So you play each team twice, 46. Yeah.
Your description of Tottenham, and by the way, Andrew Bogish, who's on the show sometimes, is also a Tottenham fan. Your description of Tottenham's, how you look back and now you kind of see the pattern of, it reminds me of what Hemingway said about going broke, like a character in Sun Also Rises. By the way, half the time I say this, and it's Gertrude Stein in a book I haven't read, but I think it's Hemingway in Sun Also Rises. It's like Tottenham Tots. It's 50% I got this right. Is the way this guy went broke was very slowly and then all at once. And that's what feels like here.
I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, I have a different relationship with Tottenham than I think lifelong Tottenham fans do, because I came into the club in like 2014,
right,
when they were this young, dynamic, you know, really entertaining, winning football team. But the history of Tottenham is one of, you know, failure, bottling, you know, Spursy. It's very Cubsy. So I didn't understand what Tottenham fans felt about their club through maybe the first 5 or 6 years. These last 5 years, I feel like, has been an awakening and an intro to that side of Tottenham and that side of football. I mean, that's a part of soccer and being a fan. And I really do believe that, like, the really tough times, and you mentioned the Cubs, make the victories that much sweeter. You know, my sort of sports fan legacy, and I think yours as well, has been one of teams that don't win a lot. So when they do, the impact, is huge. So
you also have, so I became a Barcelona fan in 2020 because I've talked about this a lot on the podcast because I love the city, right? You came to Tottenham through your own sort of experience. In religion, we were both raised Catholic. In religion, there's this, and I've seen this in the Catholic Church, there's this expression that, like, the zeal of the convert, where people that are converted can be bigger zealots than. That's what I feel like as a Barcelona fan sometimes, and maybe you as a Tottenham fan too, because you chose it, right, rather than it choosing you, which is a great part of being a soccer fan. I hear my kids. Are those my kids yelling?
Those are your kids up there. Yeah, and my kids as well.
Last night. You're like 3 blocks from me. You're like 3 blocks up the hill. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Be quiet. Henry walked in yesterday, so he's just like background. Oh, I don't know if you know this. At the end of the pod now, Henry wants to be a DJ. You know that? He's like made a bunch of beats. Here, do you want to hear Henry's beat that we close the show out with real quick?
Drop the beat. Nice.
Don't leave if you're listening. That's the end of the show. I know. All right, so I want to do a quick. I did this with you the other day. I was saying that I think Christian Pulisic is a piece of crap, and that's vastly unfair. But I'm not a fan of him. And you pointed out he's probably not the best player on the team anymore, and you correctly pointed out, because I had to look it up, he's not a guaranteed captain. Okay, I hate Captain America thing is so stupid. And I asked you, like, just to sort of quantify. We were just having a soccer conversation. What are USA's real chances? I said, who's the best player on every national team, and what is their ranking in the world? And you want to do some research, and I'm just gonna do it.
Just gonna rip
from
it.
the hip.
I didn't do any research. So
good. Okay. So let's go. All right. So Spain, one of the favorites. Best players on that team are Pedri and Lamine Yamal, and I would say conservatively top 10 players in the top 10 players in the world. I would put them much higher. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely inside the top 10. The best player on Spain is obviously going to be high on the running for best player of the world.
France, Mbappe, top 2, 3 player in the world.
Yep.
England, Harry Kane, top 2, 3 player in the world. Who else is going to be real? Argentina. Who is the top player in that in current form, not historically?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could make a case for Julian Alvarez or for, you might say on international form alone, Cuti Romero.
Okay.
But he is also, in my estimation, responsible in large part for Tottenham's situation. So it's hard for me to call him the best player. But
some guys play differently international. So what are those guys? Top 25 players in the world?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, really, France and Spain probably have, between those two, 8 of the top 15, and then England's got a handful of guys that are in there too. So
I would say there's the kids. I would say Rafinha at Brazil this year, not the same form, but he runs his top 20. Okay, so top 20, am I being too generous to Rafinha?
No, I think that's right. I mean, Rafinha, you could have made a very good case for him to have won the Ballon d'Or in 25.
Last year. Yeah, he should have.
25. So, I mean, on that metric, that's, he's a top 3 player. But I think, top 10, top 10, 15 is
top
really
12.
reasonable. Yeah.
Christian Pulisic is what? The 625th best player in the world?
Yeah, something in that range.
Is that being generous?
It's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, it falls somewhere between 500 and 1,000, I guess, is like where Pulisic would land.
And in fairness, I don't like the guy because he's a jerk to me twice on an interview. Maybe he's a super sweet guy. I had a bad experience with Michael B. Jordan once too. So like it happens. It's you catch somebody in a bad day, is what it is. I'm trying to level set for USA fans because people get mad at me because I have admitted I'm gonna root for Spain as much or more as America. Which all right, I'm a bad American. I'm sorry. Maybe you think it makes me a bad. Well, it's like if you were watching the English team and not 6 to 9 of the 11 guys that start were Tottenham players, right? You're like, I'm kind of watching Tottenham against Christian Pulisic.
No, I understand. I get it. I mean, there was a time when there was sort of a miniature version of that with England where Tottenham had, Dele Alli and Harry Kane and Eric Dyer.
Oh yeah, Kane.
So
but I do root for the USA. Like I'm a yeller. But I also root for Spain. I just trying to level set this. Who's America's best player? I don't even know. McKinney?
I don't think it's McKinney. It's probably like Johnny Cardoso or Tyler Adams or Anthony Robinson. I
love Tyler Adams. And those guys are top 200 players in the world?
Well, maybe. I mean, Tyler Adams is a very solid, just above replacement level starter in the Prem. So
Cardoso starts. He's a starter.
By that metric, he's about 100th in the Premier League if he's just like the middle of the road player, right? So,
so that's probably top 200 because if you're starting in the Premier League if you're a wins against replacement dead even Premier League player, you're a starter in the other 4 major European leagues somewhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
USA is the point is that we're a huge dog. Like and I'm rooting for us. I think success is winning a single knockout match. Like that.
I think that's hugely successful.
Huge success.
I mean, I think getting out of the group is the ultimate metric by which the Pochettino World Cup will be measured.
Can he still coach? Those who don't know, Pochettino national team coach, formerly Tottenham coach, almost won the Champions League with them, but it feels like the game has kind of passed him by a little bit. And I'm not a soccer tactical expert, so
it's an interesting question. I mean, it's hard to judge him on his time at Chelsea. I mean, they were reasonably successful, and that club is so dysfunctional from top down, particularly as it relates to how they treat managers. I was really skeptical of his approach and the output with the U.S. men's national team, particularly early on. But, Pochettino he's a vibes guy. He is a sort of he's a philosophical sort of Bielsa style man manager. He also tends to get a lot out of younger players and develop players. Well, at least he did early in his career. But I wouldn't really put him down as a tactician or like a Guardiola or even
He's
a
vibes.
Mourinho. Yeah, he's a vibes guy.
Paraguay, Australia, and a team to be determined. And I can't remember the teams that are to be. I think there's one in there that could be rough. We should get through.
It should be. Well, I mean, this is a 48-team World Cup as well, right? And 32 teams are going to advance. So
there's going to be a third team in several of the groups.
Right, in half of the groups, a third team will come out. So, I guess you would think by that, considering that maybe they should have a chance or be aiming to win at least one knockout stage game.
Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, or Kosovo are the potential so it'll probably be Turkey. So like solid teams that are not done. We should be able to. We can lose those, but we shouldn't. Right. I think that's about right.
But I would say that the teams looking at that group that are in it are thinking the same thing about us.
That's fair.
Right?
Like we're a good draw.
So, yes. I mean, because we're going to be we're the pot one team because we're the host. So
I am not. That's good analysis by you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to do. I don't always do fake breaks to the guests. Sometimes I'll rock a fake break. Right?
Yep.
Not going to do that. We're just going to roll through. Okay. So I obviously am going to post this when we get done, but now people are watching it, so it's been posted. Kind of like podcast time travel, Bobby. Two Writers Never Make a Wrong is the name of the podcast today. And this has an origin story in which we had a difficult situation because you and I managed a team together with a lot of very well-known sports writing colleagues. And they were a-holes for many of them, not all of them.
They were the worst. Should we talk a little bit about the format? Because I think they deserve some credit for the format because it was so cool.
The guy that came up with the format went to prison, Jonah Carey.
Right. This is not an art. This is not an art in the artist kind of that we're not gonna.
No, I'm not. Right. Fair.
No, okay.
Right.
Got it.
I'm not espousing Hemingway's approach to marriage or Van Gogh's approach to ears, right? Or courtship.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Jonah Carey and I got hired at CBS Sports a long time ago to be the faces of those projects. I didn't go great for either of us, but whatever. And so Jonah invited me into this league. I think we didn't really know each other as a courtesy. Like, oh, okay, you're the guy, I'm the guy. Let's do this together. Did you ever have dinner with him? He was not.
I never met him.
Yeah,
no.
you. That's a win here for you. So if you want to explain to the people that this is the craziest fantasy sports format. It's the coolest I've ever been part of.
League of Leagues. So the league lasted, I think, 16 months and covered the baseball, football, and basketball season.
All at once.
But the catch was you drafted all three of your teams simultaneously. So in the first round of the draft, you could take LeBron James, or you could take Mike Trout, or you could take, Tom Brady.
Right. And they could trade across sports.
That's right. And also given that the NFL and basketball seasons didn't start obviously until the fall and they had a draft, you also had to choose your supplemental draft pick in that draft as well, which would allow you, that was the order in which a second draft would happen, whereby you could pick players who had been drafted in the NBA or
so NFL in the third round of this mega draft, you could say, I draft with my selection the first pick in the NFL draft. And then after the NFL draft, people would and the way was it 20 teams? It was a lot of teams.
I think it was 14 teams.
And so if you got first place, you got 14 points, last place 1 point, and then that was true for all three leagues, and you added up the points to determine the winner. However, would it be fair to say that these guys were not particularly social? All of them were not particularly so. I have a great gym room connection this is gonna get to. But they were not particularly social with us.
Well, I would go beyond that. They were extremely unaccommodating, and I think went out of their way to schedule the draft every year on a day that was very inconvenient for us.
On your birthday and your daughter's birthday.
Right.
Every
multiple
year.
Times.
You'd ask, hey, this is the one day.
Yes. And then beyond that,
Bob's blowing this up, by the way, in the most crazy way possible.
But the thing that I think really got us, I think we're in this league for 7 or 8 years.
Long time.
They had a random way of choosing the draft order every year, which was every team was randomly assigned an NBA team for a given game night, and your draft position was based on the number of points scored in that game. Our random team for 8 years running was last or second to last from that group of teams in
the Orlando Magic, Charlotte.
That's right. That's right.
Can I tell the story of how you blew this thing up? Because I think it's amazing.
Absolutely.
So
I absolutely.
We got to a point where we're kind of over it. I think Jonah had literally gone to jail. The guy that replaced him, I'm sure and some of these guys are nice guys, some were not. Like, some of these guys are really nice guys and we're just doing their thing. But we get the draft order, again, the crappy one. They schedule on your birthday. Several things happened all at once. Wasn't there like some requests we made and they were pretty obnoxious in response? There was some exchange. It just got a little ugly behind the scenes. And so the way, those of you listening, you have to picture this. It is 14 teams drafting an NBA, an MLB, and an NFL team all at the same time. And it's on a Google Doc, so it's a snake draft that lasts 2 days, right? I mean, you're talking, boy, this is so obnoxious. I think out loud.
Yeah.
Hours and hours. And Bob and I would alternate. You take 4 hours, and and then you had to go to your kid's birthday party because they kept scheduling. And I'm like, hey, man, NBA that's my world, but it's baseball now. And what do you want me to do here? And it was a lot of fun, but it's very hard. And we decided, you're like, I want to leave and I want to blow it up. And I was like, and these are professional acquaintances. So I'm like, I'm out. Just, do your thing. And you drafted, so Bobby drafted like 14 out of
14 straight football
wide receivers, and maybe a couple running backs.
I started with running backs, so I took the first 6 or 7 running backs.
Okay.
Because football typically didn't get drafted until later.
They valued
the strategy was generally NBA early, then you make a run on baseball and then you So I think I filled up as many slots as were allowed with running backs and then moved on to wide receivers. And I think it was the 13th or 14th round until someone was like, what's going on with this guy's team?
With Reiters. What's up with the Reiters team? And the name of our team was 2 Reiters Never Make a Wrong.
That's it. And that is when I left the draft.
But we did avenge a wrong. Also, 2 Reiters will avenge it. And you just left.
I left.
And you're like, I'm out. And it destroyed that. I mean, every receiver and running back was on our team. We were 13 rounds into was it a 50 or 60 round? And there was a whole keeper system that was complicated. It was cool.
Yeah. It was a cool draft.
It was a very obnoxious way to leave, and magical and amazing and confrontational.
Right.
And
Thank you.
I was on Jim Rome filling in for Jim maybe a month or 2 ago. And Jim does a thing now, and so he has a 3-hour radio show, solo show. I did the show. It's great. I love the guys. I love Jim. I love the people. It's amazing. Like, Jim's been so good to me in my career. Love the guy. He does what's called the after hour. So it's an extra bonus hour streaming on TV. I've done it with James Kelly, who's a friend. I've done it with I can't remember that guy's name, but a former NFL player. Well, they had a new guy. They're like, oh yeah, like I hadn't been on the show in a while because Jim left my Odyssey, my old company. So for a year I couldn't do it, right? But then Odyssey shut down, right? I don't work for Odyssey anymore. And so I was able to go on. They had hired Adam Rank, who was one of the guys that was in the draft. And I was like, do I bring it up, right? Because we're doing like a pre-show, like, hey man, we got to talk about. So I brought it up.
You did.
Oh yeah, I came in. I don't know if you remember me. He's like, yeah, no, I know, like NBA and you covered some NFL back in the day. I like your work, man. Like, yeah, no, I like your work too. Like and Adam's a very nice guy. Like, yeah, my brother was the guy that blew up the thing and did the receivers, and there's just like, oh, he's like, I don't really remember that. I'm like, you remember that? It's okay.
Yeah, you do.
You remember it. Yeah, you do. Anyway, that's our story. Speaking of baseball, you're a big baseball guy. I'm excited to be watching it again. We've been talking about this a lot. I know you're not an NBA guy. What is your temperature on the state of baseball? Because our general view here on the show, right, and some of this might just be seeing it through my own prism, is that it's in this incredible spot, but I can't tell if that's true or I've just been liberated from having, if you like dessert, right? We had every time we go out to dinner, we have dessert. And
I'm a Dolce man.
There's a carrot cake that they make at Arthur J. That's one of the best carrot cakes he's ever had. But if somebody made you eat carrot cake every day for 7 years and then they fired you or didn't renew your contract, you'd be like, I'm gonna take a little carrot cake break. I like the carrot cake. So I'm not watching NBA. I'm watching Lakers games. So I'm enjoying baseball. And so that's the prism of me going, oh man, baseball's much healthier than hoops. But maybe does that fit your worldview?
I think so. I mean, I think that I give MLB a lot of credit for a lot of the rule changes that have made the game much more palatable, particularly for, the younger audience. I have 3 kids. I've taken each of them to baseball games, excluding my youngest, who's 18 months. But I remember back
in Colorado.
Rockies games.
You live in Denver.
And I remember back before they made these rule changes, we couldn't go to an entire game because my kids don't have the attention span or the inclination to spend 4.5 hours at a baseball game. And now these games are 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's palatable for the kids. It's also just way more enjoyable, I think, for the average fan, and casting a wider net, doing a better job of making the game interesting and compelling and sort of tight. It's a big reason, I think, not to draw it back to soccer, but a big reason I got into soccer when I did was because we had just started having kids. I was much, much busier. So having a really tight hour and 45 or 2 hours,
2 hours
of game time,
clockwork.
I mean, that's brilliant. I think baseball recognized that, modern fans and just modern culture doesn't have the attention span for a 4.5 hour leisure sport. We've got to tighten this stuff up. So pitch clocks, some of the stuff they've done around attentional walks, all of the pace play stuff has made a huge difference in the game, I think, or in the sort of quality of the product that they're producing. And then they've got real superstars in the league, right? You've got, Shohei Ohtani is a generational player. So, I think that baseball's in a really great place. I really love watching it. But I can't speak to it relative to basketball because I'm, like you said, I'm not a huge NBA guy. But yeah, I think baseball has really come back a lot in the last 5-6 years with a lot of these rule changes.
Let me run 2 things by you on baseball.
Okay.
And I'm very curious. These are my views, and I'm curious where you come down. And this can be just like real life. You can tell me I'm stupid on everything I say. It's okay. Nice. You don't have to be nice. Okay. You can do that to me with the words. You want to hear it again?
Yeah.
Air horn. I want interleague play to be over. I don't know why it pisses me off that the Giants are hosting the Yankees in the opening night tonight, and I'll have it on. I don't need interleague play. I don't like interleague play. I'd rather have more Cubs and Cardinals and them learning to hate each other. And I'm good with interleague play going away.
Would you go back to the sort of original iteration of interleague play, which was there's one interleague weekend and you play your cross rival, right? Like the Cubs play the White Sox.
Do you care about the White Sox? I don't care.
Well, it's a bad example because the White Sox are the White Sox. But
we had Pretty Daddy on yesterday, and he's basically said Yankees Mets is like meh in New York, and they're both good teams.
For me, I would love that they get rid of interleague play and that the National League goes back to pitchers hitting.
Oh, me too.
One thing that I miss the most in baseball is
I hate
pitchers should hit. I do. I agree.
One thing I think it's really cool that I didn't anticipate is the battle for those sort of extra spots in the playoffs and just the wild card teams and sort of what that looks like.
Yeah.
If you have less interleague play, all of a sudden, I said this yesterday, the Cubs playing the Padres or the Cubs playing the Diamondbacks could be critically important games, right? It becomes especially if you're doing this maybe in August and later. And so it can become a direct rivalry, a direct battle for the playoffs where, all right, the Cubs are playing the White Sox and the San Francisco Giants are playing the Rangers, and it has an outcome on who's the sort of final team in, but you have more opportunity for them to play each other 3-4 more times, whatever the math is. So all right, that's one. The other is, and I'm in LA, I like the Dodgers. My kid's a Dodgers fan. I'm kind of becoming I am a secondary Dodgers fan, right? Cubs first, but I worked in a radio station, years ago and was around the Dodgers, and they're nice. It's why I like Bill Self and KU. It's a nice they're nice people, and I love Shohei Ohtani. And despite that, And I'm not mad at him for spending all the money. Like Brian Cashman spends money, he's just a moron. And the Pirates don't spend any money because they're cheap. I want a year and a half from now, or I guess half a year from now, I want a lockout. And I want a cap is fine. I want a floor, though. The NBA does this. One thing I think they do well. I want the Pirates, before spend enough money, that they have a generational talent at a pitcher, that there's a world where they have to spend money to maybe make it work. But I know that a lockout strike can be problematic for the game. What is your temperature on this?
Yeah, I really do worry about, if the league shuts down for any amount of time, the damage that it would do to the momentum that we kind of talked about would be greater than any of the benefits. And I do agree that they've got to fix the system somehow. I would prefer it not be via a lockout. Again,
so you're gonna
sell.
You're gonna sell my view. I like it.
I'm gonna sell that. I'm gonna sell it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like a lockout for the first 6 weeks of the season.
Right.
But we still have a full-ish MLB like schedule that leads to a playoff and a World Series. Maybe I can get behind that. But out of sight, out of mind. And I think the damage it would do would be significant.
We're going to go a little pop culture here. I want to get your temperature on this because I think, were we discussing randomly the Lord of the Rings yesterday at dinner for some reason?
I don't remember dinner that clearly.
The birthday dinner? Okay.
Birthday dinner. We probably did, but.
So, Lord of the Rings, you've watched with your kids. You and I will quote it sometimes to each other. I don't remember why. I'm just going to read. So, I follow discussing film on X. People make fun of me on the show. I love trailers. I watch trailers. I watched the Spider-Man trailer this morning twice. I was waiting for you to get up because last night was rough. Let me just read this to you. And just, this, but J.R.R. Tolkien did not write any sequels. Lord of the Rings, when Frodo and Gandalf and the elf people get on the boats and go wherever they're going, that's the end of the story. Okay. A sequel movie to the Lord of the Rings trilogy is officially in the works. Plot synopsis. 14 years after the passing of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin set out to retrace the first steps of their adventure. Meanwhile, Sam's daughter, Eleanor, has discovered a long-buried secret and is determined to uncover why the War of the Ring was very nearly lost before it even began. Weirdly, Stephen Colbert is co-writing the script.
That is clever. I do believe
Godfather 3 territory.
I think that would be terrible.
Okay.
But I believe that Tolkien started a sequel and
Did he?
wrote a tiny bit, but I would Google that.
I'm gonna do it now.
But no, I can't imagine that a Hollywood reboot of a movie and or series that was not finished by its epically brilliant writer can go any way other than Game of Thrones. So
yes, J.R.R. Tolkien started a sequel to The Lord of the Rings in the 1950s titled The New Shadow. It's a good name. It was set about 100 years, though, into the Fourth Age during the reign of Aragorn's son, Eldarion. All right, but it was abandoned after roughly 13 pages because Tolkien felt it was too depressing and focused on human discontentment. The story explored a time when the memories of the War of the Ring had faded, leading to a new dark satanic cult emerging in Gondor. The fragment features an old man named Borlis and a young man named Celian discussing the resurgence of evil and orc play among children. All right, that does sound depressing.
That sounds pretty dark.
Come on, JR.
But I'll tell you what, it would have been a better film than whatever Stephen Colbert is writing. So
yeah, that's gonna be the Stephen Colbert, right? He's writing.
Presumably.
Yeah,
I am not interested in someone else's take on a Lord of the Rings story other than J.R.R. Tolkien. So
right.
For me, I was offended enough by them turning The Hobbit into 3 films.
Never watched them.
The Hobbit, they were terrible. I wish I hadn't.
You watched all 3? So
I think so.
You watch on this note, and I know that you felt burned, cheated on, betrayed by Game of Thrones the way we all did, right? Like best show of all time until it took a crap on its own face in the parlance of our times, Donnie. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms I wasn't going to watch because I've been burned before. But it is a book by George R.R. Martin, which actually is right behind me. I've done this before. I've read the book. Look at that. If you're watching the show, you get to see me do what? This is the magic you pay for. If you're
that I did not realize that it was written by George R.R. Martin.
That TV show's extraordinary, dude. extraordinary because they're source material, right? So to your point, like I'm not interested in they did a prequel. Amazon spent hundreds of millions of dollars on some Lord of the Rings like prequel that was supposed to be based on the Silmarillion, but it's really not, and I couldn't watch it. If you're a Night of the Seven Kingdoms is like 4 or 5 episodes on HBO, and it's one of the best shows I've seen in years. Incredible.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I do think I have a bit of trauma associated with the ending of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, me too.
That will make it difficult for me to re-engage with a new series.
It takes place, I don't know, 100 years or 80 years earlier. So you also don't even have to worry about like Bran or whatever. Okay. We are going to do a segment that one of our listeners requested, the return of the segments from the radio show. We haven't done this since it became a podcast. It's time for
Start Bench Cut on Reiter Than You.
Okay.
This is easy. I'm going to give you 3 sort of things. You're going to start one, you're going to bench the other, you're going to cut one. You're going to rank them.
Let's go.
Okay. All-time greatness. Michael Jordan, Leo Messi, Tiger Woods.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah. Came out hot.
Wow. That is incredibly difficult. I obviously am going to start Tiger Woods.
Okay.
Man, I'm going to start Tiger Woods. I'm going to bench Leo Messi. I'm going to cut Michael Jordan.
I think that's where
I don't want to do that. If they're all going to make me feel like that, I might be out on start bench cut. But I think I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go start Tiger, bench Leo Messi, cut Michael Jordan.
They're supposed to make you feel like that.
Yeah, and I took that shit personal. As I feel is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. That's very funny. All right. This is more speculative. You have more information on one guy I'm going to give you is deep into his career. One has just begun. One is, I think, midway point. But where they will, like, their career greatness when their careers are over, right? Shohei Ohtani, Lamine Yamal, Patrick Mahomes.
That one I find much, much easier. I will start Shohei, I will bench Lamine, and I will cut Patrick Mahomes.
You think Lamine will surpass Mahomes?
Absolutely do. I think Mahomes wins one more title late in his career. That's my that's what that's where I see that coming.
You think the glory days are over?
I do.
Wow.
I do. Yeah.
Does he win it with Andy Reid, or is this like, see ya, Andy, and a new coach comes in and a little rejuvenation?
If I had to guess, I would suspect that it would be without Andy.
Wow. I think they win 2 or 3 more, but your outcome is plausible. I think this one's going to be easy, but I don't know the answer. And I want to just frame for people soccer in the way that it just gets in people's brains. You're a huge Cubs fan. You are a moderate Mizzou fan. Are you a bigger Mizzou fan or Bears fan?
I am a bigger Mizzou fan than I am a Bears fan.
Right. Good. Then I wrote this properly. Your fandom: Tottenham, the Chicago Cubs, Mizzou.
Tottenham to start, Cubs bench, cut Mizzou.
I'm the same way on Barcelona. And Stu Kovacs, who's on the show, TGS, Two Girls Two, is this way with Liverpool. I mean, it's just, for people, like, I get it. We're an American sports show. I understand. I'm just telling you, you should find a soccer team. And we've done a couple mailbags where we've assigned a few people. People have asked for, who should my soccer team be? You actually helped, I think, with one of these. And they put data into the Reiter Than You machine, and we spit out an answer. One guy I pushed toward Atletico Madrid. I'm like, just watch for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And they beat Barcelona in the Copa del Rey. So I haven't heard from him. I don't know if he was choosing between the two. It's like a recruit who goes to watch, back in the day, Alabama play, I don't know, Missouri, or even today. And somehow Missouri wins that game. And the recruit's like, oh, maybe I'm a Mizzou fan, actually. Maybe I'm a Mizzou guy. But you shouldn't be. You should go to Alabama.
You should. Because Alabama will win things. and winning things is better.
Your favorite sports to watch as a fan, not to play. You were a very good athlete at all three of these: soccer, golf, baseball.
I will start soccer
over golf.
I will to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much so. I mean, I am so deeply passionate about Tottenham, and I think soccer, kind of rekindled my love of watching sports.
Love that.
At a time when, I was starting to feel like I was losing a bit of the love of baseball. My football team had been so bad for so long vis-a-vis the Bears that it was really hard to stay passionate there. So, I also really love just like how the game sort of like lives on television or live. It is constantly happening. There's no breaks. It's very sort of un-American style.
You have to put your phone down. Like one thing I like, I unplug. I have to watch. You have to watch every moment for 45 minutes each half. Yep.
And then golf, and then baseball. That one's very close, but watching the majors in golf was like a Sunday at the Masters is one of my favorite sports watching days.
We need to go to Augusta
of the year. Well, I've been in the lottery for 17 years running and have yet to win tickets. So I'm convinced that lottery doesn't actually allocate tickets to anybody.
I had a written contract from CBS Sports that they had to send me to the Masters. Do you know how many times I went to the Masters? I negotiated into my zero. Thanks, guys. All right, teams that you want to see win the World Series. Not that you want to see any of these teams, but this is your order of who would win the World Series if you could choose between these three teams: the Dodgers, the Yankees, the St. Louis Cardinals, obviously the rival of our Chicago Cubs.
I think this is 3 or 4 in a row where they're in the exact order you're presenting them with. Dodgers will start, the Yankees will bench, and the Cardinals can burn in hell forever.
The Dodgers are a likable evil empire, aren't they?
I do hate the Dodgers, but only because they've beaten the Cubs in the playoffs on a couple of. I wouldn't say I hate them.
16.
I have. That's right. Not in 16.
Thank you, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I much prefer this iteration of a dominant, overspending franchise to the one of my childhood, which was the Yankees.
All right, we got 3 left. We're going to get into some real Bobby sort of like vibes, life stuff here. Okay.
Let's do it.
You and your family came to see Lori and the kids and I in Spain one summer. We went to the Costa Brava, and your wife ordered a fresh fish. That was the greatest piece of fish you've ever had. So
that's right.
Start bench cut these foods. That Costa Brava fish, of which I have a photo where you look like a freaking model. You're so happy in that photo. The best pasta you've ever eaten, presumably in Italy.
Okay.
And the best steak you've ever had.
I'm going to start steak, bench pasta, and cut fish.
Okay. So you just went with the actual, okay. Understood. I actually had a similar fish up the road in Costa Brava that I think I would rank over anything I've ever eaten in my entire life. All right. You are even more dogmatically pissed off and angry at the idiots of the world than I am. And I have a very Larry David kind of life. You have a very Larry David-like reaction. I would say that stuff happens to me more often because of the universe, but you are very intolerant of people that we should not tolerate. Is that fair?
I do not do well with stupid. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the thing. You have to endure this every day for a year. Start bench cut what you're choosing to endure. Horrific drivers on the road.
Mm-hmm.
You own a restaurant. You're very particular. It's a great restaurant. American Elm in Denver. It's amazing. Go there. You are very particular. Terrible wait staff. Or horrifically rude neighbors.
Okay. So I'm starting the one that I could tolerate
the most.
The easy.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna start horrific neighbors.
Really?
I just won't talk to them. I think Right? That's
You're
the one
dead
I
to me.
can avoid. Yeah.
Okay.
Just noise canceling headphones anytime I leave my house would probably be the. But and then I would bench. Man, it's really close. I think I would bench the wait staff and cut the drivers.
The drivers can take you out. They can just end it all. It goes badly enough.
That's true.
There's a danger
but
factor.
I can yell at them.
That's true. You can't yell at the
and
wait
I
staff.
can't yell at the wait staff. So
that's a great call. Okay. Last one. What the better feeling, the better sort of dopamine rush, right? Winning a poker tournament, which you have done to the tune of several hundreds of thousands of dollars several times. Very good at that. Winning a serious golf tournament. You're a very good golfer. Beating me, what you've done one time in your life, beating me in tennis.
The dopamine rush will go golf, tennis, poker. So I'll start golf, bench, poker, and cut. Sorry. Bench, beating you in tennis, and cut poker. Poker tournament victories are not a huge dopamine release. They are just a huge relief.
Okay.
And you're so exhausted.
It's over.
Right. I feel like the dopamine hits like 36 hours later when you're doing blow at the club, when you're at Envy. You know what I mean?
It's not an experience that I've had.
Me neither. But I think that's how most people do it.
Oh, do they? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, winning a golf tournament, I haven't won a golf tournament, like an individual golf tournament, since I was in high school. So that would be...
Still an amazing feeling, I'm sure.
That would be, yeah, that would be there. But beating you in a set of tennis is even somehow rarer than me winning a golf tournament.
I know this.
So...
It's happened once.
I might be moving that one. I might be moving that one up just so that I don't have to hear about how long it's been from you every time we hang out.
Yeah.
But I got it close. Yeah, well, you did.
He did it.
You did it.
Well, little start bench cut right there, dude.
That was nice.
Great. And we did a little with Andy Roddick. We got Andy in there. I'm never going to ask him about that, Beth. And you're never going to get to see him again. So
pray to God he's watching this and he feels the shame of not.
I could clip it and tag him, but there's still only a 9% chance he'd see it, and a 100% chance he will not come on the podcast again. He was very good. I'll say this: he was very good on the pod last time. Not as good as you, though. You crushed.
Thank you. I did enjoy Andy on the pod. It's one of the pods that I've watched.
I think that's when you asked me for access.
Lifetime. I want a golden ticket.
You have one. You did it. You did it. That was fun. See, the painless. That was fun.
That's it. We're done.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
We let the music kind of hang.
Nice. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. First of many Bobbies. And to Adam Rank and the guys at League of Leagues. Sorry.